Hey, I'm here. Hope I have a signal. I'm going to invite a few people to join and turn up my volume. That will help. How y'all doing? I'm going to tell you how I'm doing. Okay. I'm inviting people if you'd like to know what I'm doing over here. Inviting. That's how they have it set up now, where I have to do that part. That's that part. How does my face look as I'm doing this? Say something if you're in the room. And I'm not even sure how to tell you to share because they've changed so much of the setup now. Okay. Who's in the room? Okay, I'm gonna stop inviting. Let's see who's in the room. Hey, I can see who's in the room. All right, y'all. So I am so honored to be here all the time, because for me, despite moving and having shit everywhere, there I have a commitment. There's a commitment that I have made to this business, to my vision. And so when I come, despite moving around and shifting around, I think about honoring the commitment. So have moves or money moves or whatever, whenever you're making moves. And so hey, thank you for saying hello. So yeah, I know it keeps getting interrupted, and that's a part of the whole thing that I'm learning, right? So I wanted to I see you all saying hello now. Thank you for that, because I didn't see the screen for a minute. So definitely let me just tell you what I do. I use every part of my life to give me feedback, particularly when what I'm experiencing, my vision is bigger than what I'm experiencing, right? And sometimes when we do personal development work of any kind, we think that it guarantees that it's going to be easy once you understand it intellectually. Because for a while, we may not understand things intellectually, right? And we fight it. We're totally unconscious to it. And then we become conscious of it. And then we usually will make a choice. And then that choice feeds the vision if you have one. And of course, I have one. And so I had gotten so excited about a new house. That in fact, I thought it was a sign from the goddess, because I told you that the real estate agent happened to be someone who's a member of Good Girls Gone Goddess, knew who I was. I didn't know who she was. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to be perfect. So I started out in October looking, and the agent told me, oh, you're too early. Okay. Think about that, because I want to talk to the planners today. I want to talk to the visionaries today. Those of you who are on the course, who stay the course, right? Because if you're just new to this, I'll talk to you too, okay? But I started out in October. The real estate agent told me it was too early. Wait until November. Oh my God. I'm like, I knew what it was like when I was looking for an apartment or a house. Well, this was my first time looking for a house. Even in the 16 years of being in the DC, Maryland area, I either owned a house, a condo, or when I was transitioning from a divorce, I moved into an apartment. I think it was my second or third apartment, really, right? So this time I was like, I want a house, so I want to start early. Well, of course, they say in this area, you don't start so early because people don't want their house sitting, if you put a deposit down and that type of thing. So fast forward November, the real estate agent is in here. In fact, she just said hello. I don't know if she's still watching. And the second house that we went to, fell in love with the house. I didn't want to really look at anything else. I had that feeling. I felt like the house was it. Long story short, fast forward the tape, there was a whole bunch of wait for this, wait for that, interruptions, no responses, down to the wire. Now, remember I shared that I continue to look at other things because there's a law of non-detachment, that when you have a desire for something, it's important for you to be able to detach from it after you have put the desire out there. How many of you knew that? Just put a 1 in the comment section if you knew that there is also, it's a compatible law to the law of attraction. Okay, so I knew when I felt myself getting really attached to the outcome that I needed to shift. So my nerves was bad, all of that stuff. I did readings on it when it got close to the time. The readings indicated that a no, let's just say that, okay? So I was still disappointed even with the reading. But I knew I also got guidance that I needed to wait. Now, in addition, here's the twist. My tribe, some of you are in here, so you can relate to this. My tribe, my posse, my people in business and ministry are in Florida right now. I have a plane ticket to fly out to Florida tomorrow. I had a room in Florida. I had reserved my room months ago in Florida for the Soul Wealth Weekend. To support my girl, Elder Vicki Johnson. And of course, it would have been great to, on top of a move, to be on the beach this weekend. Okay? I'm talking about how to handle disappointment when things don't go your way. I want to show you how the universal law works, right? Because what a lot of us tend to do is we check out, we stop communicating in the very places that we got breakthrough, support, love. We shut down. Depending on your astrological sign, if I've read your natal chart, then you will know what your pattern is, right? How to handle disappointment. Because good girls tend to think that just because I planned it, that it's going to work out. And then when you get, even when you're religious, you can take your religiosity into spirituality as well. And the first thing that happens is you can use the same universal principles the way you did religious principles to say, what am I doing wrong? What can I do to fix it? That type of thing. So I had to put together another plan. I got so exhausted and frustrated because then when I started to go look at other houses, I felt like I was settling, because at this point, after we saw that second house, I knew what I wanted. Like, I had not been lit up on the inside about a house, a country type property in a long time. A part of me leaving the United States was breaking my attachment to so many things that we set as milestones. I had a wealth educator tell me years ago, He said a lot of black people, and I have to say it like this, but black and poor people, even white, they tend to think that buying a house is an investment when sometimes we can be mortgage poor, right? So we work just to pay the mortgage sometimes. And that's an American thing. But particularly black people, we used to be a very tribal people. Now we shame people for living with family members, or there's a shame if you have to make any adjustments. So part of me breaking that when I moved abroad and selling everything was a lot of detachment from not just things, but also concepts. So I felt that light again from the house, like, oh, wow, I could see it was almost surreal. I didn't even know the desire was that big, right? But when you start moving in the direction of something, you start to find out how much you really desire. That's a feminine principle, right? A lot of times as good girls, if we can't see what the outcome is going to be, we won't move in the direction of the desire because of our control issues and the desire to get it right or be able to guarantee that what you want is going to happen. We do that in relationships as well. And so I'm talking about myself. I'm probably talking to some of you. If I am, thank you for putting comments in there to let me know I'm landing on your street. And talking to you today, I'll be honest with you, is therapeutic because I got tested on this very topic up to 15 minutes before it was time for me to go live. That just to show you how when you're a teacher, when you're supposed to be leading in something, that you sometimes have to live it first. So back to what I was saying, I didn't get the house. Bottom line is I did not get the house. So I had to put together my plan B. My master teacher taught me, when you're committed to something, you don't have a plan B. You focus on plan 1 first, right? You give it 100%. A lot of times when you're dating ladies or married, you already are thinking about your plan B as well in marriage, but that's another discussion. So we did not get the house. And then at the last minute, by this time I'm tired. And there was some issues around getting approved for the next thing that we would want because of some credit issues that I didn't know existed. So being transparent here, because there are times when we are going to move forward and it doesn't work out as planned. And then what do? What is your natural response? I'm asking you. What's your natural response when things don't go the way you want them to? I'm asking you. I'm telling on me so that you can answer the questions and look at yourself. You will be surprised at how many people I coach who, when I ask these types of questions, they say, I never considered that, because most of us are operating on automatic or another program of how we think things are supposed to go. So I have the plane ticket to go to Florida. About a week ago, I had to let go of my room because the house did not come in. You see, domino effect. Y'all ever had a domino effect? So I had to let go of my room. Thank you for being honest. Dawn says she shuts down when things don't go her way. Thank you. Anyone else? At this point, I couldn't shut down though. I probably do in the past have shut down. Thank you, Laura. You said anger. Anger happens. I used to get really angry, but at a certain point I started to like, who am I getting angry at and what is it going to do? Disappoint. Yeah. No, Nina, how do you, so you get disappointed when I'm saying, how do you handle disappointment? Right? That's what I'm asking. Pity party, annoyance. Okay, good. Yes. I have been all of those things in the last month. I mean, when I tell you nothing has been going as I have planned it, right? So at least And here's the thing, when you're a minister and you're doing these kind of and you practice any African traditional rituals, there are people I know who are assigned to me that I work with. They're angels and such. And sometimes I forget that when you say things in prayers like, show me if this is for me at this time. When you say things in prayers like, if this is for me, because sometimes when you are aware of the spiritual energy and the spiritual committee that works with you, sometimes when you activate them, you think that you're activating them just to get what you want, but sometimes you're activating the ancestors, your angelic posse, so that because they can see things, or the energy I don't want to make it seem too spooky, right? Because I know some of us still have religious barriers to talk like this, and some people may take it and make it dogmatic. The point is that the universal law is neutral and our emotions doesn't matter. The second point is when we work with spiritual committees, sometimes there are relationships, locations that are not good for us. And so it feels like we're bumping into these brick walls. Thank you for your honesty, y'all. Fight or flight, dashing, anger, sadness, right? Trying to figure it out, find another way, all that stuff, right? So I had to cancel my ticket. I haven't canceled my ticket to Florida yet. I'll be doing that today because at a certain point, I said, okay, I gave up my room. Vicky said, okay, we're going to try to find you another room to roommate with other people. Well, it turns out all of my friends had already had 2 or 3 people in their room. And some people were straight up honest with me. Well, we really only want to do 2 people because it's supposed to be a luxurious getaway, right? Only one person, but it doesn't matter. That was their answer. And what? So I'm talking about me so that you can look at you and look at sometimes the people you keep company with. Because when you look at the people that you keep company with, sometimes it becomes a normal to respond that way, or to allow people in your life around you who come in and out, in and out. When life doesn't work, you know that life isn't working because they're gone. Or life is working. You know, the kind of girlfriend that when she's been wanting a man, that when she gets the man, she does not call you. She doesn't want to go out, but let her have some man problems. Girl, what you doing? Okay, so I'm saying this for you to look at it at all perspectives if you're growing forth in Goddess, because sometimes we have energies around us that hold us in place as well. So finally, an opening came. It was easy. Everything about it was easy. Even the location, easy. The approval process, easy. Just little things, easy. Started like, okay. Everywhere I turn, I got a yes. And so, long story short, we moved. Now we moved in and we started I'm like, okay, good. It feels good because I'm telling you, for the little place that we had, I love the location of the place, but I didn't say anything verbally because I didn't want to add any energy to it. But the truth of the matter is the energy was really inside of me because I did not care for the place. Not because of any other thing except for the property owners were horrible. I mean, I could barely breathe. You all know I'm teaching all the time. My body has experienced asthma. We smell gas. It was hot. It was a hot box because of the radiator heat. But we made that choice because of the size, the location, and relocation from Costa Rica. Mind you, I've sold all of my things. So I'm going into a new experience with this again, right? And so when I got here yesterday and we put our things down, it felt so good. Like, oh my God, there's air moving, there's airflow, and I'm starting to feel good. I woke up this morning in pain, but feeling good that we made it through the day because my husband insisted that we could do it, just the 2 of us. Just the 2 of us. We can make it if we try, just the 2 of us. You and I. But child, the little me, I'm like, you need to have a crew here, because I packed, I organized, I labeled. I shouldn't be the one doing it. He's like, babe, we don't really have that much stuff. So basically, I'm telling you my lessons, because that means also there's some things I could do to get in shape a little bit better, to strengthen some areas in my body. I'm talking because as my inner ego, the ego would say one thing, my God self would say another thing. Oftentimes the God self says the truth. Now, I'm bringing you up to this broadcast. I'm feeling good enough to cook breakfast. I'm cooking breakfast. My husband comes in and says, I lost the keys. I accidentally threw them in the dumpster. I've been looking in the dumpster for the keys. You know, I'm like, whew, talk about having to practice discipline of the mouth, but also of the mind, because you start thinking, well, why? Well, did you look? But don't say it, LaTanya, right? Because he is already feeling terrible. And I'm thinking about, oh my God, I got to now go and get a whole nother set of keys made. 15 minutes before, Spirit had already told me what the topic would be for today. You may be looking at your year. You know, I'm going to tell you, living in Costa Rica was so easy for us, with the exception of conveniences. The only thing that was not easy in Costa Rica was the lifestyle is not set up for you to just go in to buy and be a consumer. Certain things you have to look for. It's not all in one place. It's not all in one store, but life was easy. The year since I've come back to the United States has gone so fast. And if I forgive me, if some of you are my friends and you get tired of me talking about it, I have to say, I haven't shared enough. And most people in the United States do not ask you any questions about that could bless their life, because many of us are still in survival mode, and the idea of living abroad is just a vacation. So people aren't asking the lessons that you learned in the process. Only people who ask those kind of questions are other expats, other people who've traveled internationally, who want to know, well, what did you think? What did you feel? Well, how did you do that? So the first year, and you all know it took me about 6 months to maybe 9 months to adjust to even being in the Washington, D.C. area, because it feels like 2016, 17 has been placement, Spirit placing me where I'm supposed to be. Now, I don't think that is a punishment or anything because of my prayers. The only thing that has kept me from managing the disappointment is I know my prayers. I know what I have prayed, what I have written, what I have envisioned. That's the only thing. Because to be honest with you, there are times when when you are used to things going your way. And the reason why a lot of good girls are used to things going their way is because we usually follow the program. We follow the protocol. We follow instructions. And so the first thing you want to know is you either are all in it or you're all out of it. I'm talking to good girl mentality, right? Good girls tend to be, when you all in for somebody, you all in. When you're all out, you all out, right? And if you're a rebel watching this, please tell us how you handle it, right? Because some people think that I am a rebel, but I have to make conscious choices to not allow myself to be handcuffed by my own conditioning. Now, there are some things that are so far removed from my reference point that some of you may still reference that I understand, but there's a level of freedom that I see for myself financially that doesn't even include coaching like that, right? There's some things that I see in terms of my service and my ministry bigger than this. There's a vision that I see for my family, for all of the things that I have in vision, right? So until I see the freedom in those areas where I don't have to do one thing in order to do another, that my infrastructure is solid. And that's why I do the Bitcoin and the gold, right? Because I get that game. I understand commercial banking. So of course I am probably someone who's always talking about the uncommon, but I trust and believe, y'all, I have not just done this from one workshop. I have been on this journey since I was 19 years old. There has been a lot of things that I have sacrificed in order to live in the center of my truth. There are a lot of when my girls was partying, just like my girls are partying in Florida. When my girls were partying, I was a young wife. I was in a religious commitment. I was talking about my people. I was building businesses at 19. I bought my first house. I would lead that process when I was in my early 20s. I think the 21 or something. Purchased my first house in Harvey, Louisiana, off of La Palco, baby. And we had businesses, and I was learning. I was learning how to be a bride. My mother was not the best example, to be honest with you. So the religious community, I learned some things about wifehood specifically. My mother knew womanhood, and there's a difference. And so I have done that. So there have been, I have built other people's organizations and ministries. And so when in the last few years of my life, I've had to also see that there's no loss there, that there's no theft there, that even the religious sacrifices I made, that prepared me for the level of consciousness that I live in, for the type of things that I'm able to teach. I say that because a lot of people who are on this journey want microwave results. And then you will also question the journey. So even 15 minutes, and Iyanla always says, she said when she used to go to Jacob Javits Center in New York City to teach, she said she started learning how to choose her subjects carefully because she would always be tested on that particular subject. She would always get material for what it is that she had to teach based on how you handle it. And so for me, tell me about you. Do you remember a time in your life where it felt like you were being placed? You planned out one thing, but then you got placed here and there, or one door closed and then you had to go knock on another door. You got a no here only to find some yeses in another place. Or that there was some things that you had to face and clean up. So there truly, let me be honest with you, there are definitely some things that I didn't have to be concerned with when I was living abroad. The intention was not really to come back to the United States anytime soon. And so the things that I said, I'll get to it, like that affected my credit, I had to say, I got to go deal with that. But I couldn't deal with it quick enough to get what I wanted. It's not that it can't solve it. It's not that it's not something that requires something of me. And ladies, I just want to tell you, don't give up. My girlfriends are in Florida right now. I wanted to go. I wanted to go. Damn it, I wanted to be in Florida with my posse because I'm in the United States now. The last time Vicky did it, I was in Costa Rica and I was good with that. And I'm craving the beach. And I wanted to throw a temper tantrum. The little girl in me wanted, but it was shit that had to be done. And even when it came to broadcasting, yesterday totally was a blip. Totally was a blip because I was dealing with so many other things. I just wanted to say that when your stuff comes up, when you are playing a bigger game, don't run. Don't shut down. Press in. Thank you for telling me, Janai, that you have been through that. You know, that you said you have she said, yes, I understand about making conscious decisions to be a rebel. I've embraced this more and more. Well, I didn't really make a conscious decision. I just wanted to be free. I'm less of a rebel and more of I just want to be free. So if I have to be handcuffed to, look, I don't believe it. I'm going to tell y'all something. Be careful about you attaching to this stuff in Libya. Be careful about this stuff you attaching even to the sexual harassment claims. Be careful about these things that you are attaching to. There's another mainstream, Libya, sexual harassment claims. There's another one. It was on, veganism, even veganism. Whenever something comes to the mainstream, when it's a bandwagon, when things that have not been embraced, all of a sudden now, the corporations are on top of it, you better try to check in with yourself. Even with Bitcoin. You know, I'm going to be honest with you all. One of the reasons y'all don't see me on just talking about Bitcoin and gold is because I pay attention and I observe everything. And I see now it's catching on because there's certain people I know who they jump on bandwagons, right? Finally. Because when Sabira and I first were talking about gold, few people would show up to our broadcast. Dana would show up and she got on the money train. There was Dusty would show up. She got on the money train. Sandra showed up. She got on the money train. It's a few. I can count them on my hand. And then there's a few people who jumped on, got and jumped off. I even jumped off for a minute. Sometimes people, you have to show them better than you can tell them. Now, one of the reasons why Sabira is having so many people hear Sabira, but I hate doing what everybody else is doing. Sounding like, even when I tell you, when you coach with me, I get it. I inspire you. I can do all that. But your job is not to be me or to say it the way I say it. Because can you manage the disappointments that I've had to manage? Can you stay the course? You only find out who you are and where your area. Look, oh, my cleavage looks so long, child. Lord have mercy. Let me fix my cleavage. Woo. You know that it's some double D's when the cleavage is beyond here. You know it's some double D's hanging up in there, baby. I love them now. This is my Yemi Ya blessing, Olo Kun blessing. Anyway, back to what I was saying. You gotta laugh at this stuff. I see this all the time. I can pick out amongst, thank you sis for putting your comments. I can pick out women that I have been working with. I know when they're going through something. They don't have to say anything because they don't show up. That's part of the reason why I wanted to do the Get Naked challenge. But even the flow of that has not been what I desire. So here's what I'm going to do. For those of you who are already in the Succulent Success, those of you who are paying yourself first, you are already in the monthly masterclass at no cost because you're paying yourself first. Those of you who are subscribed on the first track, you are already in. I'm suggesting that we do the Get Naked challenge inside the G-Force group first. I want to do it for 7 days because we are going to have to cross a threshold of getting more transparent rather than thinking magical, thinking that things are phone ringing, thinking that we are going to be exempt just because we're spiritual, or just because you made the investment in the coaching or the therapy, or because you've been doing such and such. It doesn't matter. When you're playing a bigger game, your yes, there is something. What if I told you what was required of thee? Would you still say yes? When you're playing a bigger game, sometimes you have to get a bigger plate. Otherwise, we tend to entertain the conversations that are hidden, and they will stay hidden until you expose them. The ego loses its control over the big vision, the big picture, when you out the ego, when you expose the ego. That is what I'm calling get naked. The one gift that a lot of things in social media does, for those who study and show themselves approved, the one gift that social media does is, for those who will research it, you learn a little bit if you follow the trail of study. There's a way to study. I hope to teach more about that next year. When you follow the trail, and you have a trail, you got to study yourself as well. And so there are conversations that sometimes keep us hiding. There are conversations that women do not talk about for years. That's one gift that this Me Too movement, the sexual harassment movement, or whatever the hell is that they're doing in the main media. Do you ever ask why? Why is this stuff coming up? But at the point, there's a scripture, both in Quran and Bible, says that what they mean for evil, God means it for good. And so when I talk about when there's a big story in the media, be careful of jumping on bandwagons, but still always look at the hand of the divine in it. It is the same thing with our lives. The divine is in this. I am placed where I need to be right now, because now I have more detail about my vision and the activity that is required of me to birth the next level of my vision. And so it includes living abroad again, but it will be in the way that I envision living abroad. It will not be just on a contract that I was waiting that failed. It would be under my own contract. You see, that was my lesson. I still want the farmhouse, but maybe that farmhouse had an energy on it because I dispensed my spiritual angels and asked them first, should I go there? But I didn't like their answer because I gotta know. I ain't happy that my husband lost all the keys to the new house and we haven't been in there. But guess what? I don't know what that means for me. I know that, what that means for us. Maybe it means nothing. Get over it, that I mess up sometimes too, and I don't want somebody throwing in my face that I mess up. I don't know. But the point is, stay the course. There are conversations, I'll wrap this up. There are conversations inside of you that moving forward towards your vision, your desires, what it is you're looking to manifest, that will require you to pay attention to them. There are conversations that must get handled. You have to be able to handle the conversation. And oftentimes we believe our own press release, just like we believe the press release of the mainstream media that's only owned by 3 corporations. So they control what they're feeding you. Who took the pictures in Libya? Okay, you see I'm jumping in and out because it's relatable, because our emotions can be stirred by anything, right? The third thing is you got to face you. A lot of women shut down, and shut down is an easy place to go, or blow up. Shut down, blow up. When you blow up, it's anger, it's blame, it's projection. But when you can sit in the seat, you're being prepared for leadership. Because a leader cannot just do what they've been doing the same old way lest they become a tyrant. How many of you have worked for tyrants? I have. That's the part of my life that I shut down the most. I didn't ask for help. I didn't tell anybody because I thought I needed that check. And I was tortured for I don't know how many months in a situation under a tyrant. After I had tried to launch my own network market, I had launched my own network marketing business. And so I had to go and get a job again. If you've ever worked for a tyrant, you know that a tyrant is not a leader. And my question to you, how did it feel when you worked for a tyrant? Please tell me if you worked for a tyrant. Put 2 in the section. Just put 2 in the comments. Have you worked for a tyrant? Vivian said me. Come on now, I want to ask you, how many of you all have worked for a tyrant? Hand up in the air. Okay. How many of you have ever lived with a tyrant? I see the emojis. How many of you have ever lived with a tyrant? It could be your own mother, daddy, grandmama. Tyrant, okay. 2 for tyrant. It's a few 2s, a few me's. Well, guess what? How did you feel? How did you feel? Did you feel helpless, hopeless, overcome? Well, guess what? When we do it to ourselves, it's no better. When we do that to ourselves, it's no better. How you handle yourself in disappointment oftentimes is a conversation of responsibility, physical, mental, and emotional responsibility. What do you really believe about what it is that you are capable of? Or do you think you're not good enough? Do you think that you're not enough? Do you think that you are unworthy? All of these things are underneath. And that is why I'm inviting those of you to get naked with me. Now, here's the thing. It's only $29 if you have not joined, and that's the link above to join. We're going to do it for 7 days. If you want to share it on your page, I will reward those who are already coaching clients and inside of the monthly masterclass, or are already on the Succulent Success. When you share 7 days, a minimum of 5 days of your Get Naked challenge, any way that you want. I'm going to share more, and I'm not talking about pulling off your clothes unless you want to, unless you desire. I'm not talking about pulling off your clothes. I'm talking about pulling off of the veil, unveiling parts of yourself that you don't even know can be a service. Because when one woman goes free, she gives another woman permission to go free. You share for 5 days and invite at the end of your share, join us in Good Girls Gone Goddess. I am telling you, my intention is when I do this, I'm asking you to share Good Girls Gone Goddess, because let's finish the year ready to go into our liftoff. Y'all know that I do a 21-day process at the end of the year called Liftoff 7-7, and that's Liftoff 7-7 literally has been amazing in terms of the results. But the Get Naked challenge is going to be a light, soft test. But we're going to go further with this, because I came before you to get naked. In fact, I was so naked, child. Let me show you something. I was so naked. Show you how naked. I was so naked because I'm walking out, the reason why these girls is hanging like this, because at first I ain't have on no bra. I ain't have on nothing. And my husband said, so you gonna go on live like that? I said, well, not exactly like this. I'll give the girls some support. So I gave my girls some support so I could give you some support so you wouldn't be distracted by my double D's right here. Like the news media distracts you with stuff. I didn't want to be a distraction so you could hear. Because you would have been distracted if I had came on this joint with them things, baby. So I'm just being silly with you all, but come on, join the monthly subscription. The link is above. Don't inbox me, where's the link? Do not inbox me that if you watch this all the way through. It's right. Okay, there we go. I got the signal again. bit.ly/my G spot. It is just a little place for those of us who are in this group to go and do a little bit of strategy. Once a month, on the third Thursday of every month, I have taught a strategy class. But I want next week to start a 7-day process of getting naked. Okay? Getting naked emotionally, mentally, and spiritually around these things that we allow to be hiding places of our power. And then we give our power away to being perfect, to being good. And I want you to know, I don't ever want to be one of those coaches or ministers that that perfection is required, or that you think I'm coming because I don't have the challenges that I coach you through, right? Iyanla and all of my spiritual mothers and Master Coach Ron Davis, peace and blessings upon him. I could go down the list of all my mentors, have all been open books, because if I get to tell the story, I get to own the outcome of this. I get to produce it. I get to direct it to a degree, right? So anyway, I love y'all. I'm going to get back into packing, canceling my trip to Florida. If I need to shed some tears, I'm gonna shed some tears. If I need to turn up my music and have some dance breaks, I'm gonna have some dance breaks. The children, I'll be with the boys the week. It's a whole bunch of other things that are positive, and I have to know that everything is in divine order for me, because it always has been and it always will be. And since I create my reality, whatever thought I'm thinking in the present moment, I am building on that thought. And so I invite you to think about what it is you're thinking about, especially in the face of any disappointment. So join us, and I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.